Uh, I don't speak as loud as Gino, so I'll take the mic.
Hi.
So Gino talked a little bit about my background. In the 90s, I was working for Adobe and Apple at Silicon Valley. Came back to actually go to Shanghai in year 2000, and then in 2006 I bought this company called Natural Digital Entertainment. Uh, because during those days, in year 2000, I was so interested or so keen on investing in games. So, my background is more on the graphics technologies. Um, I was working for Adobe. The first version of Illustrators and Photoshop, a Chinese version, was done by me. Uh, at Apple, I developed part of the team who developed the Japanese Newton. I don't think many of you know about the Newton, which is the first PDA. And then I became an evangelist at Apple. So today, tr- you know, I will not talk too much about game design, game concepts. I would more give you more in terms of the business aspect, the general business environment in the game industries or in the mobile game industries. In 2006, I bought this company called Natural Digital Entertainment. They were developing MMO RPGs, which took about 18 months to develop. For a team of 15, 20 people. It's big investments. 2 million to 3 million US dollar for games. And we had one reasonably successful one, and the other one was total disaster. So it's a lot of money down the drain. So by 2008, when Apple announced the iPhone or the iOS SDK, I threw away everything, convert all my developments to mobile developments, or at least focus on the Apple market. So far, we have released 50 apps. We are the top developer in Asia. We had a couple of winning titles, winning several awards in Hong Kong, and get featured by Apple and stuff like that. We also released the game in the iOS, in the Windows Mobile 7, Android, Mac OS, as well as DSiWare, which is the NDS. We also work with local designers and developers to help them develop or publish their ideas and concepts. Okay. So, the mobile revolutions. I was very mature compared to most of you. I began my career with the OS war. I graduated in 1980, so that was the time that when Apple II were in the market. That's the beginning of the PC market. And of course, Microsoft won the OS war and become the giant company of today. That was my first revolutions in the high-tech industry. In the 90s, the internet began. And of course, Google, become the king of internet as of today. And then, right now, it is the mobile industry. It's the mobile revolutions. And the mobile revolutions sort of begin with actually by a company called RIM, with its a product called BlackBerry. It utilized the 3G data. They were so focused on the enterprise market. They did very well until, of course, Apple released their iPhone. The first version of iPhone is sexy, but still not there yet. But when Apple announced their iOS SDK and App Store. They announced that at the so-called Worldwide Developer Conference. Once I heard that, I decided to change my business model, my company's business model, purely focused in the mobile. Because Apple Store, the concept of App Store changed the whole distribution concept of software, in particular in the mobile areas. Of course, Google and Microsoft follow with Google's Android. Microsoft Windows Mobile 7 wasn't too successful. They just announced that Windows 8 Metro, which will hopefully be here in a year or so. And of course, the post PC, the tablet market, which I consider as part of the mobile. So, what is App Store? So, today in Apple, they have the Apple App Store, of course. That I saw quite a few of you have iPhones and stuff that you download apps. Google have their for Android market. Windows have the Window Marketplace. Amazon have an app store for Google apps. Nokia, of course, have their own app stores. Blackberries, and of course, in China Mobile also have their app store. So App Store what's the importance of App Store is they provide you a worldwide distribution channel. In the older days, when software was, software distributed through dealers, resellers, and the cost of developing distribution channel is extremely high. Today, majority of this App Store give you a worldwide market. For example, Apple give you over 100 countries, and some of the country I don't even heard of. And our apps, our games is selling at some of these countries. App Store also give you a very reasonable revenue speed. In the older days, software, if you gone through dealers and distributors and resellers, you normally get 30 to 40% of the retail price. Apple gives you 70%. And Google as well as Microsoft, those majority of the bigger app store, they give you 30, 70 revenue speed. Low entry cost, meaning in the iOS Apple App Store's case, you join a developer program for $99 or 770 Hong Kong dollar, and that's your annual fee to become a developer, and you can enjoy the publishing in the App Store. More or less the same price for Google as well as Microsoft. They offer you development systems. I remember the days then when we tried to develop stuff for NDS, PSP. Those development kits cost money, quite a bit of cost, and most of the development system for Apple, for Google, Windows is free of charge. So they give you a development kit to start with. Some will require to get approval. Apple have to approve your apps, but Google doesn't. And Microsoft have to approve your apps. So they will check your apps for content and see whether they are fit for their rules. And of course, there is some local ISP and content providers, for example, in particular in China, that those ISP operate, like the China Mobiles or even Korea, Japan. Some ISP will become the app store. They have their own app store for Google in particular, Google's applications. So when you have a game, when you have some ideas on what you want to do, so which platform? Today you have the iOS and Google, Android, of course. Windows, probably you were not considering it right now, not until the Windows 8 or Nokia, mass producing the Windows Mobile 7. In the iOS, there's over 200 million devices that they publicly announced it. There's probably close to 250 by now. The screen resolution, or at least the proportion of the screen, is very consistent. For the iPhone, iPod Touch, it's 3:2. For the iPad, it's 4:3. This have a substantial meaning because you do not require to reproduce, to redraw, or to recreate your artworks. You do it for one proportion or one resolutions, and you'll be able to enjoy that 200 million device. However, in the Apple App Store today, there is probably about 470,000 apps. So you are competing with a lot of apps. Even in the game areas, it's over 100,000. On the other hand, on the Google Android, they are claiming 500,000 activation per day. I would expect there's over 100,000 devices already, and it's of course growing. The latest report last quarter, Google is selling 2 times of Apple. So, in terms of installations, in terms of device, both have huge amount of market that you can tackle. However, Google have shown from, as Steve Jobs said it, segmentations, meaning each device is very device specific, different resolutions, different screen proportions. Some are slower, some are faster. Even from China's, those called 山寨机, you just don't know what's inside. What's the performance? So, we had produced a couple Android apps, and testing is a nightmare because, for example, Samsung Galaxy XS is our, default machines, but it doesn't necessarily work on HTC or whatever. So that's a nightmare. But there's no approval necessary, meaning, the first time I was so used to the Apple, App Store, you upload and wait for, a week, and then you say, oh, okay, it's approved, it's online. The first time I upload one of the Android apps there, and I asked my staff to say, hey, does it approve yet? No, it was done the second it upload. So in that respect, for me personally, I don't really want to download things in Android because you don't know what you're downloading. But so if you consider developing a games or just a general app, there's a few considerations in particular in the business model that you can think of. A pay app okay, 99 cents, 10.99, whatever, you can decide your price. Our game so far, majority, 95% of them is pay app. That's how we make our living. Of course, free apps, you can give it away. Free with advertising. There's several advertising network that you can use, AdMobs and Great Stripes, and other companies that will help you putting advertising in it. And the fourth one, the freemium or the app with free app with in-app purchase, is probably the most popular or the most common these days. You download it for free. However, you if you want to play the full games, or you have to buy. You either use virtual buy virtual items, virtual currency, to play or to be more powerful or more one of the example is Smurf, Lam Ding Ling. The story was the app is free of charge, but you have to buy those Smurfberries, and kids was buying so much, and the parents was complaining. In-app purchase is one of the probably most common or most fast-growing concept in games. So you design a game so that they may have minimal fun, when they launch, and if they want to be better, to be to play the full games or using virtual items or other things, so that they will, user will be able to spend money and you get revenue from it. Of course, there's subscription based. There's probably more for the news, magazines type of services. Okay, talk about mobile entertainment. I guess the best case study is the Angry Bird. So today there are over 350 million downloads. And guess how much the company are valued now? Current valuation of the company is 1.2 billion, which is obscene.
How did they come up with that? 1.2 billion US?
US. Well, because they have right now there's VC invested in the company, and the valuation is 1.2 billion.
They raised what, 60 million, right?
I forgot 120 million or something like that. But it's actually the company is more or less the same size, slightly bigger than my company, which is we have about 12 people. They are almost bankrupt, just like we do. And today they valued at 1.2 billion, not millions. And because of one game. Okay. Now, the second point is very important. This is a casual game. Okay. Because in the most of the old gamers like myself are hardcore gamers. That you need 3D, you need performance, you need the best graphic cards. But today's gamer, majority of the gamers are casual gamers. Angry Bird is a pay app in iOS. I think it's 99 cents on the iPhone and $4.99 on the iPad. However, Angry Bird is free on Android with advertising. Now, the next one is very interesting too. Angry Bird, at least on the iOS version, did not publish by themselves. They use a company called churning to publish it. Churning is a UK company, and actually they just bought by EA. have two brands. One is the churning brand, one is the Click Gamers brand. The difference of two brand is churning brand is you know better games. They think that they will be more successful. Click Gamer is just ordinary. They don't think they will be too successful type of brand. Very general. So the story, or at least the point behind this is neither Chilingo or the developer have any expectation, or at least this kind of expectation on this game. So it just went wild. One of the reasons why is a lot of developers, even ourselves, were too focused on more hardcore gamings. Of course, Angry Bird is fun, is cool, and you can play for 5 minutes or 2 minutes or an hour, and you can just casually play, just break and you can pass, or you can seriously measure the angle, and so there is this kind of game mechanics there that either very casual, in the MTR or bus, you can play for a couple minutes, or you can seriously play. So it really attract a lot of people. And Angry Bird in China is published by a company called iDream Sky, Android version, of course. So that gives you a feeling of why, and sometimes you do not just publish it in one or two marketplace.
Why did they go through a publisher rather than self-publishing?
Because one thing is localization. The second thing is for example, in China, you cannot just go and publish yourself. You have to, get a third party to help you publish, and I'll explain that a little bit later. So, that's why I bring up that point. In China, they use a company to publish. Okay. In the digital mobile games, mobile entertainment, App Store really changed the landscape of gaming communities, because in the older days, mobile games consider NDS, PSP. You buy a device, you buy a few games, and you stuck with it for. Well, you are not stuck with it, but you usually just buy a few, and wait until 2 years later, new model, you buy new games. You don't really buy games in between, or you will copy it rather than buy it. But that's the usual, or that's before the mobile device, the iPhones and Google phones come out, that you buy only a few. Because of the distribution methods, the App Store, that you got a lot of choice these days. Developer like ourselves do not have a business development department, do not have a marketing department, which cut down quite a lot of costs. But yet we still able to reach 100 countries. So did that allow smaller companies, even individuals, to be successful? In price also is a big problem. In the older days, games cost you 200, 300 Hong Kong, or 20 to 30 US dollar. But now, 99 cents. Some of the bigger brands like EA will sell for $5.99, $9.99. But a lot of good games, are selling at 99 cents. So it driven down the price, to the bottom. and some can even, some even offer free of charge, and free of charge with in-app purchase, and that's why this freemium's coming from. So they hope at least people will download free of charge, and then they charge you later. So these these two things, the distributions and the price, really change the landscape. And today's gamers, as I said before, a lot of people are casual gamers, and because of the price, I call it disposal games. You buy it, you play for a week, you throw away, and you buy a new one, or buy a couple new ones, and then you play. Next month, you buy a couple new ones. Some good ones you keep it, in your device, and others you just throw away, because 99 cents, in today's economy, you can't even buy a hamburger. And of course, with the mobile device, one thing you can really do is social, meaning you can network with people, game with other people. So social is a really big aspect because of the mobile device. Okay, when you are developing games, there's a few considerations. First one is some technical considerations. Of course, you have to pick whether you want to start with iOS first or Google's Android first. And I listed here a few multi-platform, that means both Android and iOS graphics engines that is available today that will help you to get things started. The first one is Unity, which costs 5,000 to 10,000, depends on different packages. There's the Unreal Engine, which is probably among the very best graphics engines, 3D engines. You can get it free of charge. However, you will pay royalties of 25% of your revenue. Well, if you're selling well, that doesn't matter. But and the other one, OGRE, is free of charge. It's open source. So of course, open source, you got less support. You need to build a lot of your own individual tools, which we have used as our graphics engines. So once you develop it, ready to publish, you got two options. Of course, you can publish by yourself, and one of the example I just gave, Angry Bird, was published by Chilingo, because some of those companies have marketing budgets. We'll be able to put into a few forums, put banners, and one of the advantage of CDE, because we help several people, several developers publish on our company for our company as well. One of our advantage is because I was working for Apple, and we have over total 8 application was featured by iTunes, by Apple on the iTunes. So you got better chance of getting featured by some of those companies.
How much help was that? When you get featured in terms of your sales number?
20 times.
20 times?
So the day before is probably selling 100 a day. The day after is 2,000. Minimum 20 times. that is the best marketing you can ever get.
And then it stays or it drops right away or?
Well, while it was featuring, of course, it will stay, and then will slowly peak. I mean, slowly die down, and it also depending on how good your app is. I mean, some can last a little bit longer, some will just drop. For example, one of our app awarded '09 ITC award, Asian Tribe. We got featured by Apple. The best day was about 5,000-6,000, and it lasts for about 2-3 weeks. And
So that's $5,000 to $6,000 a day.
well, we managed to increase from 99 cents to 2.99 while it was featured. Yeah, that's the best strategies. Because hey, when you get featured, you get download. Why don't you pump up your price?
Ask a question.
Yeah.
Do you know what sort of channel they use to help your sales?
On iOS or Android?
Maybe start iOS.
iOS, I do not see any marketing channel or any ways that really substantially help your sales. There is like Touch Arcade. There's a lot of forums. We try. We put banners and it doesn't work. One of the reasons why is today's gamers, or majority of the gamers, are casual gamers. They do not go to forum. They do not read. They just see the top 10. Oh, I download. I mean, I think majority of the people here would just go to the top 25 and 99 cents. Oh, free. You don't go to forum and read whether this game, how to play this game, and because majority of today's gamers are casual gamers. Okay, so there is other consideration when you besides the game contents and game logics. You want to put in some social networking stuff in your games. You've got high score, you post it on the Facebooks and stuff, so you can put Facebook integrations, Facebook fan pages. On the iOS, you got Game Center. There's also a cross-platform, OpenFrame. Those are relatively simple in terms of technical. Usually half a day to 2 days work to get those things integrated, so that you'll be more social. More people knows about the game. And of course, advertising considerations. In the iOS, the iAds, in Google Androids, they got the app mobs, and there's dozens of different app networks out there. Some are more regional, some are more international. My personal experience, I do not believe in the advertising model. One of our app called Party. We have almost 1 million downloads, or about 900,000 downloads so far. And all the advertising monies that we get is less than 2,000 US. So for Angry Bird, yes, but for apps that you are less than 1 million, that's not a lot of revenue that you can get from the click per click base.
So wait, so you released it for free
Yep.
with an advertising model,
Yep.
and you only, after 900,000 downloads, You only got $2,000 US.
Well, slightly below $2,000. So they usually give you I've got, a cents per 1,000 click, something like that. There's, they have different stuff, per click they give you so much. If they click and people actually buying, they will give you, extra. Well, that's my personal experience, so it doesn't mean anything. So this is probably, you are interested in developing with the, power of this mobile device, the iPhone 5 coming out next week. There'll be 3D. You'll be able to do a lot of 3Ds. Of course, the online and social elements of it. Augmented realities, GPS. All these are, some of the things that you may want to consider as, the future of games. And one thing to remember, casual games sells. Don't think of a 3D, infinite blade sort of games. I mean, if you are EA, yes, it will sell, but you might waste a whole year or a few years to develop some of those 3D games that just wouldn't sell, a couple hundred copies. Okay, I know some of you are interested in publishing your content in China. Well, not only Hong Kong, of course, foreign companies and individuals, they cannot publish content directly. So what you can do, you can register your software. There's a website for you. However, I think it's about 200-300 RMB. It's not much, but you cannot send check, you cannot wire, you cannot TT. So they're in Beijing. So lucky that the company who bought my company, they have a head office in Beijing, so they can go and pay. So it can be pretty troublesome.
Wait, so you're saying to publish your app in China, you have to go to Beijing physically and pay?
Well, no, you can go across the border in Shenzhen and you can get it wire, but foreign, no. Actually, they might have, offices elsewhere, but the Beijing is the one that we go for. So if you want to publish, you need to have a content provider, to be a CP. CP or ISP will be able to publish your content. So you need to find some company that have a CP license, and that's why iDream Sky, for example, is one of the company that will help foreign companies, to get all this thing ready and done, localized it, and be published. And usually, because of this middleman, revenue split doesn't, come as favorable as you deal with the App Store directly. And all of the app market is Android only, or App Store is Android only. Others, you can download iOS apps, but those are, of course, pirated apps. And again, segmentation, it's a whole mess. You just look at this list. That is just some of the publisher that you can use in China. Of course, there's Dinson, Lintong, I mean, all this, they have their own app stores. And there's also third party to help you to go to this, this app stores. We actually just got awarded 2 apps in Yidong, China Mobile. And actually we got paid 100,000 RMB each, 2 of our games, and you have to gone through all this hacks, and even I would not like to deal with it. My head office in Beijing will, they're gonna deal with it. So my suggestion is to find some partners. Okay, to summarize it, today's game developers, one great thing is the App Store help you to solve the distributions. No business development, no channel development, even no marketing, will get you published. And you get paid better compared to the older days. However, there's one drawback is I still have not found a solution or marketing methods that is really reliable, because today's gamer doesn't really go out and look in the forums, and it's word of mouth. It's top 200, top 25 that really help. But still, small developers, individuals, had better chance to success than in the older days. Because if you find a fun ways, find something fun, find something new, people will buy it because 99 cents. A lot of people can afford it. It's disposable games. People buy new games every now and then. And this last part, low price. People needs a lot of content. People will continue buying. And look at the, history of game development. Since Apple App Store began, the total of games that is available there is more than the whole time that we had the number of games available. So, still, people are still needing a lot of content, a lot of games. So, time for questions?
One quick one, on the marketing side, have you looked at licensed IP? Have you ever explored licensing IP?
Yes.
Like what, Hong Kong movies, or what kind of things, and how much success did you have with that?
I cannot tell you now because the app is currently under approval. But yes, we licensed the one from Belgium, as I told you. He's the developer or the inventor of Picturica. This is his new games called Arbo. So in a month, I will.
I know that's where you're working with it, but something like, I don't know, like Hello Kitty or Snoopy or those kind of things, that already have recognition.
No.
Have you looked at that kind of model for
Yeah.
licensing?
Yeah, but so far I don't see that as too successful. Well, you just look at the top 20 apps, 25 apps so far. Okay, Bejeweled, Textures, they floating around top hundreds, but majority of the top apps are new games, new ideas, new concepts. We had actually in Hong Kong we had two games with Angela Baby. It doesn't sell. So
But you have popular ones, I think you guys do mahjong too, don't you?
no,
No? I thought you guys had a mahjong.
I think people or the gamer, today's gamer are looking into new contents, new games. I mean, people like myself, the old Atari games, 100 Atari games. I downloaded, but this is because, you know, I was young at those days and I played those games. So you have, you know, this kind of memories that you want to play. But for majority of people, like yourself, you don't want to play Pac-Man.
Of the 50 games that you publish right now, what's the average revenue? Like how many hits, you know, what's the breakdown in terms of?
So far we have about 1.2 million download, pay apps. You know, free apps, you know, can be crazy or can be, you know. So over 50 apps. So some of the successful one, we get about 250,000 download. But of course, some of them are not free. I mean, you don't get, you know, less than. Some can be less than 1,000 or 2,000.
So to keep the business, how many hits do you need versus the failure?
I think now, consider the mobile game developments to the old MMO developments. You know, you need a couple $1 million to develop an MMO. But today, my average game developments is like 6 month graphics plus engineering. So the cost is, you know, 120,000
Hong Kong.
Hong Kong. So that's 1.5. 15,000 US. So we probably need about at least 20,000 download to break even.
Sorry, I have a question. Do you get any loans from jailbreak apps?
Yeah. So our rough guesstimation is about 15% of our apps, or you know, our downloads are jailbreaked or free of charge, or you know those China websites. But I don't see that's a problem because those people wouldn't buy anyway. And the great thing is in China, you know, we have one app out today, the next day they have, you know, our apps in the private website, and they even localize it into Chinese. So it's, I mean, they're genius.
Localize your app.
They took the graphics out and, you know, put the Chinese in. Of course, it's not fully localized, but you know, I was really amazed that they would spend all this time to do it, and they earn nothing from it.
What's the development time of your usual games?
Well, as I said, around 6 months. So I would put it like half and half. You know, 3 engineering months and 3 graphics months. But one thing, you know, we have a pretty effective production system.
Can you share with the class your, that's engineering and graphics, assuming you've got the game designed.
Yep.
But, you know, in your company, I guess you have about 15, 20 people. How do you come up with the ideas and decide which ones to implement and stuff?
Whip them. No, every Monday we have this meeting that, you know, game design and you know, well, once a month I host the company meetings to, hey, everyone come up with new ideas. You know, every Monday I'll have the game design and the graphic design to give suggestions, and every time, so of course, they scratch their heads. So in the early days, we'll just go to tower defense, time management, and every you know once. Well, this is also my charter. You know, to build up a portfolio of games. That's would be useful now. So they have to scratch their head. They have to think, you know, new characters, new concepts. So it wasn't easy. One thing I do not do is, you know, I remember, you know, one particular meetings that they proposed two apps. One is, you know, just shake the iPhone, and then it's a solder there, and shake and just see how, you know, how high it can goes up. It is stupid, right? And the other one is, you know, really nice puzzle game. I did not stop, you know, I do well, one thing I am very good at, I do not stop creativity, so, you know. So we developed both of them. You know, the one that I like, sold less than 2,000. The stupid game sold more than 50,000. And that took only 2 weeks to do. So there's no rules. There's no rules. In particular, we were in the early days. 就一个收的，就一个可乐，你这样摇，你就摇了，抢的时间你就喷得更高。有些人就是摇1个小时。And that's stupid, you know. I mean, very stupid, right? For some people, but we. Just like that. So, I guess the main scheme. So anyhow, and that was I think published in February 09. That's at the very beginning of iOS, and people just love to, you know, some crazy things. Now I show you one our very first app. This app also takes 2 weeks.
Actually, can you show it on your iPad?
No, this is more fun.
What's the thing?
So I was that release in September 08.
Oh, show the
and that was, you know, when I go to karaoke, go to pubs, everyone loves me. Oh my God, you can do that. That's in the bars, hey, 玩骰盅啊，好，你拿骰盅我就拿這個。So I mean, this is like 2 weeks. So, you know, some of those concepts, some of those ideas, you know, in the early days, you can really sell, you know, a bit of money. But today, of course, people got used to the phone. They look for more in-depth games.
Do you use the gyroscope? Do you have any games that use the gyroscope?
Yeah. Called Asteroid. So also, one good thing is use the technologies. For example, swipe, shake, all these are new UI that you could use in games. So some of these games days are, totally new concept because of technologies. So one thing I think we are quite good at is look at the new technology and see what we could do, what we could come up with. Last week I was invited to have coffee at ICAC because they want to do some games.
I didn't come in the morning and get you.
I was telling my wife, I'm going to ICAC now. What? No, they want some games. Okay. So, one of the game concept I gave them is, they want some games to educate people about corruptions. So, one of the concept I give them is, use GPS. Go to Mongkok. This is a case happening now that people are selling sorry for iPhone. Now you go to Hong Kong, there's a case that, for example, old woman, ask the, someone to help them to the baggage and give him $200. Is it a crime? No. So you can learn, you can use location-based stuff to get it more interesting. So when you go to certain places, your new mission will appear as a super ICAC agent.
What do you think is happening in Central then?
That's probably a lot of crimes. But anyway, using GPS, for example, can be a new games. I really like to see some of those games using GPS. I haven't have a good one yet.
And there are opportunities. We worked with the intellectual property department, and then the Beat Drugs. I don't know if you know, but the government has a group called Beat Drugs just for drug awareness. They have a $300 million fund that if you have ideas, you should apply for.
Report of, hey, I'm here in, PolyU PQ002, report a drug case. Immediately you
No, not here.
not here. Across the Jim Sergeant bar, then you can send a location and say, hey, I'm reporting a drug case. Those can be fun. I mean, use government's money, help them to spend by developing some good entertainments or good applications. Because today, I mean, it is crazy. I share some of the sales data. There's more than 1 million iPhone in Hong Kong. That's crazy. Everyone uses iPhone. I mean, in terms of a country, I mean, over 11%, I mean, over 15% of the population using one brand, that's a lot. That's a lot. But again, smartphones like iPhones, Android phones, become ever so popular. I mean, when you go in the MTR, you see everyone. Okay, not everyone have iPhones, but I think half of them already have smartphones. So application like reporting drugs abuse, just one click, here it is. Government can get the statistics of where it happened. Okay, it helped them to get more police to patrol, for example. These are good applications, good concepts.
The game you said you liked that lost to the shaking game, can you describe what the game you liked was?
It's a puzzle game.
Oh, it's a game. So like Tetris or?
Well, we use a environmental concept. Let's see what I should have it.
Maybe it's not casual enough, right?
Well, I wouldn't say it's not casual enough. It's just not good enough. No, I don't have it here. Well, in the game industry, we use a statistic that every 1 in 10 games, you hit a jackpot. 3 others is you break even, and the other 6 is total loss. So one thing is, for a game developer like myself, you have to keep on pumping games, and hopefully, you get a jackpot. Of course, Angry Bird hit the biggest jackpot, ever.
All right, any more questions? If not, I'd like to thank Franky again.
Thank you.
He's based in Inno Center, and like I mentioned, he is working with us. So if you have any ideas for games, he's open.
Yep.
And especially for the game development class that you're in, for your final projects, if you're interested in doing a game or a mobile app, he's got a lot of experience in Hong Kong, both on the development side and on the publishing side for that. And I encourage all of you, if you get a chance, we'll have, his email's up there.
Well, my email's there.
But if you want to meet with him or anything like that, or shoot him a mail, I'm sure he's happy to accommodate.
Yeah.
And he's pretty excited in terms of the relationship between his company and our program, because he's looking for new ideas, new developers.
Well,
And
I think in the older days, game companies like ourselves are difficult to survive. However, with new markets, with the new distributions, smaller company probably have better chance compared to the, big, medium, or big to medium-sized company. Because if you have a good concept, quick to response, and get into the market, there you go. Angry Bird is an example. They are not EAs or billion-dollar companies. They're just small companies. Individuals. I mean, one of the early iPhone apps, that guy worked for Sun Micro, iShoot or something like that. $1 million. Just one app.
oh, that farting thing?
The farting thing actually should. We thought of it, and I was saying, it's a bit too obscene. Let's not do it. But of course, on I think 08 Christmas,
Yeah.
they sold close to 1 million copies. Phone pay. That's
All right.
okay.
Hey, thanks a lot.
Thank you.